Coming up then, connecting past, present and future, we're welcoming the Soul Sisters of Spirit to our shores. Norman Greenbaum and Spirit in the Sky, 22 minutes past 10 o'clock. There is a reason I'm playing that. And it's been heatedly debated, hasn't it, since the dawn of time. One of those things we'll never know the answer to. What happens when we die, when we cross over to the other side, however you like to describe it. Everyone has their own ideas and have their own way to make peace once a loved one has passed on. Well, three women who think they may have the answer are the Soul Sisters of Spirits. And lovely to have them in the studio with us today ahead of their show this evening at the Jersey Arts Centre. I'm joined in the studio by Angel Anne. Hello, Anne. Do I call you Anne or Angel?
Angel, that's fine.
Angel, lovely.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you very much indeed. We have Suzette Carlyle. Hello, Suzette.
Hi.
And also Karen McCagh. Hello, Karen.
Hello.
Thank you very much indeed, ladies, for coming in. So, have you been to Jersey before?
Yes, I was here in June and it was absolutely wonderful. I loved it.
Oh, so is that why you encouraged your
colleagues to come? Yes.
No, we haven't. This is our first time, isn't it?
Well,
yeah.
Well, we sort of got the weather for you.
Lovely, yes.
Holding in there just about for you. So let's have a chat sort of individually. And Angel, come to you. When did you know that or feel that you had this gift, if you like? Some people call it a gift, some people might call it a curse.
Absolutely. Since I was 3 years old, my sister passed the spirit world as a baby. And I remember my mum being upset and asking her why. And I was still aware of my sister round about me at that time. And it was only growing up that I realised that I was seeing her from the spirit side, but coming from a lineage of mediums because my gran was a medium. But we've always talked about spirit within the family, but I'm really the first one to come out the closet, although my gran used to do readings at her home, but I'm the first one who's actually out there.
So how was it as a child? Because children just accept things because when they're little they're not told anything else. Mm-hmm. But once you get older, you're told, no, don't be silly, don't do this, don't do that. I mean, how did you sort of push through that and stay with your convictions?
Well, really, I was never pushed away from it. I stepped away from it myself because I asked my mum, why did these people not come for dinner? Why did my gran not come for dinner? Why did Laura never come to play while I was eating? And she told me there were ghosts. And myself, as a child, thought, oh my God, ghosts, I don't want that. So I stepped away from it for a little while. Myself tried to hide from it. But it can't leave you. It's born. It's natural. So it's always going to be there.
And what about you, Suzette? How did it start for you?
For myself, I was always not aware of the spirit world. I was brought up, my grandmother, because we're from Guernsey, always went to churches and was very interested in spiritualism and the spirit world. So I was always aware that there was a spirit world, and a few sort of incidences when I was a child, but nothing that I could actually say, like Anne, I was, really aware of it until about 2008. And I started just knowing that things were going to happen. And I thought, okay, what's this sort of all about? So going to a spiritualist church, which was the first place I went to, wasn't alien to me because I'd been to them before with my grandmother. So I started going, started developing. I joined, signed on to a mentorship with a lovely lady called Mavis Patilla, which is sort of pivotal between us three, and went from there.
So you sort of learnt it, did you?
Developed. So as Anne says, you have it, you're born with it. Now whether you choose to develop it further, that's down to the individual. So I chose, because I felt that's where I was going, I chose to develop it further.
Is everyone born with it?
Everyone's born psychic. Not everyone is born mediumistic. There is a slight difference. But the gift has to be there of being a medium. Really, it's a bit like a calling, I feel. You'll get that calling, that pull when the time is right. A bit like a ministry at times.
And Karen, what about you? What's your story?
Really much the same. I was always aware of spirit when I was growing up. My grandmother, she was mediumistic. Although she didn't do anything about it, she read tea leaves and little messages here and there. So we were really brought up with that feeling of there's a spirit world, there's people there. And really, although I was aware of it in the background, it wasn't really prominent until maybe about 6-7 years ago. And again, like Suzette, I chose to develop it, and it really becomes a calling. It really is part of your soul, and it's almost like you have to nourish that feeling and go and investigate that.
Is that what people find difficult to understand? Because there are skeptics out there, aren't there? I mean, and how do you sort of cope with that? How do you sort of stop yourself getting knocked by criticism and when people perhaps, don't understand, people don't have that calling, don't have that feeling in them?
I think it's always an understanding when you're doing it yourself of the soul power you have. So although you will have people coming and saying, they don't believe in it or they think it's nonsense, because you're so sure of it yourself, it doesn't really knock you that much. It's more about you understanding you and letting other people understand what they want to understand.
And so when did the three of you get together? You mentioned a lady that was pivotal. Was that how you came to know each other?
Yeah, she's pivotal. Myself and Karen met on Mavis Patilla's first mentorship, so we'd always been in touch since then. And then Anne joined the mentorship, and through Mavis, Anne and Karen started working together, and then through different circumstances, we talk about synchronicities. Then the three of us had started talking and working together as well. And it's just something that the only way you can say is it feels right.
I suppose that's what you've got to go on, isn't it? Your gut,
absolutely.
Your sort of gut feeling. Talking about synchronicity, I played "Spirit in the Sky" because that was the first tune that came into my mind. But that's
my signature tune.
That's what you come out to. And you were saying Edwin Starr, SOS.
Edwin Starr, I love that. And when you played it, I thought, gosh, she's good. She's done our Soul Sisters of Spirit, SOS.
I'm afraid it was just there, ladies. But a little bit of synchronicity.
Yeah.
I mean, is that the thing? Do people look? When people come to your audience, they're wanting something, aren't they? Do they look for things that perhaps aren't there?
Not really. Sometimes I think they can be a bit more difficult. They want that proof. You can give them so much information. For instance, a father could come forward, you can give all the conditions, how he passed, you can give birthdays, etc. But they're always wanting more. It's almost like they want the name, the address, the telephone number, because people want that proof. And sometimes they don't need it. Other people just need the feeling of it. So everyone's different.
Yeah.
And that every medium is different, because not every medium is for different people. You won't get one medium who's going to fit everyone, and that's why it's good to have a collective, because we've all got different life experiences. And if we work with the universal law of attraction, we're going to attract certain people from the spirit world with our experience, and we'll be attracted to people in the audience, and Karen and Suzette will be attracted to different people.
And I also think as well that when we're going out to work, we're going to promote evidence of spirit. There's a lot of entertainment out there, and you do have to interact with audiences, and it's lovely to meet everyone and come face to face with people. So it's really nice to do the shows and the events, and people are lovely because they do email you and give you feedback, which is really nice too. But it's important to us as Soul Sisters of Spirit, which is why we started, to get that message out there that this is real, and this can become a natural thing to people as well.
When you introduced the show, you said that people will they'll look for comfort in their own ways, and that's one of the things that this can bring about is the comfort, the understanding, that the start of a healing process, give answers. It gives each individual whatever they're looking for, hopefully, and that's just what we're about. Is they have a need, the spirit world will know what the need is. We're just the medium, so we're in between.
But is that a burden on you?
Not at all. Not at all.
No.
Responsibility.
Yeah, responsibility.
Yeah, you have to be responsible
You
about
do get
this.
vulnerable people that come to you that are in need of that proof that their loved one is there.
And do you feel? I mean, anybody that comes to you and feels upset, you're going to want to comfort them. Do you feel you have to comfort them if there's nothing there, if there's nothing coming through? How do you?
I think you have to be very honest as a medium, because it's not always going to work. It's not always going to just be easy to make that communication. In my experience, and I can only talk from my own experience, as Anne and Suzette do as well, it makes sense that they will be there. the communication can be different for people. You can have someone in the spirit world who's a fantastic communicator, give you everything that they've got, and the person just can't believe what they've got. And then you can have somebody in the spirit world who maybe didn't talk much in this life, and they're not as great communication there, so it can be more difficult. But as long as the medium's honest, I think you can comfort people anyway.
How do you feel them? How do you feel the spirits? In what way?
We're all different. I'm a lot clairsentient, which means I feel the energy as they come into me. I feel the words. I feel the presence there. Sometimes I'll get a bit of visual, a bit of clairvoyance, but we're all different. I don't know how Karen is.
It's the same. It works differently with every communicator, actually, because I can have a gentleman coming in and giving me all the feelings of how he passed, the names. I can feel everything like that, and then all of a sudden I can get someone coming in that's showing me where they worked or showing me their name written, on a wall. It just depends how they can communicate.
And really a lot the same as Karen. I'll get a mixture. I don't sort of have one defined way, and I have a sort of, one of the hardest things for me is I just know things. So that's how it all started, and I just have to trust that wasn't my thought, that wasn't, so I know that. So that's how I'll give it. So again, it all depends.
And
really.
how do you control it during the day? I mean, does it happen when you're in the shop, or is it just, right, we're on stage and in the moment and this is it, and you sort of send out the vibes or whatever? But do you have to control it during the day if you meet someone?
Absolutely. There's a time and a place, and it's got to be respected. I mean, you don't go into Morrison's or a supermarket and start saying, well, I've got your grandmother here. That's not respectful to the spirit world. It has to be a time and a place, and you can't invade in people's privacy. You've got to wait till they come to you or in a show environment, because people come to a show environment, they're looking for that proof. So there is a time and place. You don't want to be a leaky medium, is what we call it.
But you can feel spirit around. We might be just in our own home, and you suddenly feel someone there, but it doesn't mean they're there to communicate and pass a message on. It just means because we are open to it naturally, we will feel the spirit world, and that's it. But we don't really, I wouldn't go into that communication until, like Anne says, someone comes to you, and then that's when you're providing that service.
Yeah. So how does it work on stage then? Because I'm sure people listening will have been and seen one person on stage and one medium. So how do you gel together and make it work on stage?
But we've got half an hour each, because that allows us to get into our flow and work with the spirit world and connect with the audience as well. And then for the latter part of the show, then the three of us will come together as we are a three, and then we'll work. But the spirit world, and there won't be any, for the three of us, any set ones. It will be whoever's got somebody will just know and say, it's Anne, she'll just step forward and say, I've got somebody, and then if it's Karen. So we'll just take it as that comes, because it's a partnership that way. So
I think as well, we all work so differently, but we all provide the evidence that's needed, and there's a trust between the three of us, and that's why we feel it'll work, because we're doing a lot of work next year, going to the USA to do a tour there, and it's because we trust each other, and because we know that we're working for the right thing, and it's coming together. It's coming together.
Yeah. The people in the States, there are a lot more spiritualist churches in the States, I would have thought. Are there? I mean, they seem
not really.
No,
there's parts of America which are very Christian orientated. There's parts which don't accept it, but it's about getting the truth of spirit. It's almost like being a pioneer, going out there, on a mission, to give work for the spirit world, to let people know the spirit world is real. It's not a fantasy. And to bring forward that truth.
And there's a lot of entertainment out there. A lot. If you look at America, there's a lot of TV shows, and it's more of the entertainment route that people go down with the shows. All we're trying to really do then is just bring the truth of spirit there as far as we can take it.
Do those entertainment shows dilute what you feel you have or what you do? I mean, there must be some people out there that are just winging it to be.
I think you get that in every area of life, don't you? Every profession, everything you do, there are always going to be people that you feel shouldn't be doing that, or they know that they shouldn't be doing that. But really, we concentrate more on the positive and what we can bring more than anything else.
And the thing about it as well is that there are those shows out there, and there are other people, and then that's their calling, and then that's whatever they've decided to do. But also, it opens up avenues for spirit, because if they're in there first doing whatever and people are talking about spirit, then they've already got that in their mindset. Other people is there a spirit world? Right, okay, well, we'll go and see somebody else, or we'll take this further. And it's all about the growth of the person here, our spirit, because our spirits come here to grow, is my belief. So whatever those other people bring to the universe, it will help along the way in some way, shape or form. We won't know how.
I think we've all served spiritualist churches as well, and still continue to do that, because it's important for us to have that side of it as well. A bit of philosophy from the spirit world too. But I think what we're trying to do as well is bring it out further to theatres and venues, because those people might not go into a spiritualist church.
Yeah.
So it's important that we take that message out as far as we feel that we can.
And for anybody coming along this evening or to any of your shows, they take away from it what they want, don't they?
Absolutely.
Whether it's believing or not believing.
Hope, upliftment, and
comfort.
Hopefully some comfort, but also some laughter as well.
Or a few jokes in there, are there?
Absolutely. Because I always say the spirit people, if my dad or my mother is in the spirit world, they're not going to want to come and make me cry. They're going to want to come and bring something that's going to put a smile on my face and give me that upliftment when I walk away. And personally, I would always say at my events, I'm not here to convince or persuade anyone. It's just really that we're out demonstrating what we know to be the truth in our own self. And like you say, whatever they take from that, we hope that it's something good.
And if we can give 5 minutes back to a person with their loved one, then that's what we aim to do, is because that's the time that's missed. Because you always think, I wish they were here. Well, that's what we aim to do.
Lovely.
Let's bring you together for a few more moments in your life.
Okay, well, it's been lovely meeting you, ladies. Thank you very much indeed.
Jane.
Thank you very much indeed to Angel, Karen and Suzette, and a trio of international mediums, Soul Sisters of Spirits. They're on at the Arts Centre tonight, 7:30, 700 444. You can see them tomorrow at Beau Séjour.